Amazing single supermom, motivated in raising her kids. What's her secret? Don't you dare miss this episode of Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. Hey, 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 another day, another podcast. And it's me once again, your host, Julia. Welcome, you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who has tuned into our podcast episode for today. I can't wait for you guys to meet our awesome guest for this podcast episode. But of course, I hope I'm also worried on you guys if you guys have already eaten or already drank your meals for the day. So I hope you guys are all settled in, already sat back and relaxed to watch and listen to our podcast episode for today. So, yeah, if you guys already had your lunch, breakfast, dinner, all of those stuff, if you guys are still munching on those chips, go ahead. Yeah, that's actually awesome for that while you're listening and learning a lot from our guest right now on our podcast episode. So, yeah, without further ado, I want to introduce to you guys. We want to introduce another awesome virtual assistant guest, specifically an admin assistant of her client. And yeah, we can't wait to meet her, get to know her journey. Yeah, so let's put her on the table now. So let's welcome the lovely Miss Anna. Hi, Anna. How are you doing?
Hi, Julia. I'm fine. How about you?
Awesome. That's really great to know. Thank you so much for asking. I'm also doing fine. Yeah. So thank you so much once again for accepting the invite of being our podcast guest for today. How did you feel when you got invited?
Overwhelmed. I haven't been really that active in Sphere Rocket, but I've been with Sphere Rocket for the longest time, and I've seen all the events, and it makes me
Mhm.
very happy that a lot of VAs are attending. And now that I got a chance again to have this interview, the last one was
Mhm.
with CK and Justin, and now with you. So I'm very, very happy. Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really, really great to know. And it's really nice to know that you got to be a guest or a spokesperson or a speaker towards many, many, many events of Sphere Rocket. And yeah, we can't wait to get to know Miss Anna a little more deeper. So, yeah, the people want to know who you really are. So, please do give out an introduction. Please do introduce yourself. What's your background? Where are you from? What were you doing or who you were before becoming a virtual assistant? Anything you want to go and share.
Okay. All right. So my name's Anna, but in Sphere Rocket, the first VAs called me Mommy Ice because I'm a golden girl. I have two kids. Both are adults. I'm just probably waiting for a grandchild, hopefully soon. Prior to Sphere Rocket, I had a lot of jobs. I experienced being a VA as well, but just for a short time, with a Chinese client and a French client, but that was way, way back 2016. And then I was also a trainer for teachers who taught Chinese kids. I had a short stint at a Japanese company as well. And then prior to that, I was in the food industry. I had so many jobs right after graduating, way, way back. So I guess it's it. Nothing really exciting about my life except that.
Ooh, that's really, really awesome. You really, really lived through your years with the many, many experiences that you've mentioned earlier. Yeah, I also want to know, I'm quite curious about what you are doing, of course, specifically, not only a virtual assistant, but specifically being an admin assistant. So, what are your daily tasks? What are your daily routine of being an admin assistant?
Okay. So to start off, I started with my client way back in 2020. Right. That
Oh,
that long I've been with Sphere Rocket for the longest time. That's I had my first interview May of 2020, and I could really remember that there were only a few Sphere Rocket employees then,
mhm.
and I
Still
think I'm
growing.
yeah, and I think I'm one of the few who were hired, few of the very first few
Pioneer.
who
Wow, that's
yeah,
really
well,
amazing.
not really as in like the first 10 or something, maybe the first 100. I'm not sure.
Mhm. Wow.
But I was assigned, yeah, when I was assigned to my client, Brian, it was made clear to him that I would just do admin work because I'm really not familiar with real estate and stuff. So, and that's what we did. He trained me in being a transaction coordinator, but that was just like a risk because he knew I didn't know anything about real estate.
Mhm.
But other than that, I did handle his, well, in Facebook, I would greet his contacts with birthdays. And then
Mhm.
I would create cards through send out cards each time there's an occasion. And I would send it out to, a lot of people. I would also, like what I said, transaction coordinator. I learned all of those stuff. But then towards the end of 2020, or I think if I'm not mistaken, the first half or first quarter of 2021, there was a transition because he was
Mhm.
made to go to the Compass office. So I was handed over to his partner, who is Nicholas McGuire, of course. And I still do the same thing. So for almost 4 years, I've been doing those same stuff, and I can do them with my eyes closed.
That's really, really awesome to know. And the fact that you could do it with your eyes closed, I could really tell that you're really a master with what you're doing. But yeah, my question is with the you've mentioned you can do it with your eyes closed and you've been doing it for a lot of years now. Hasn't there any time wherein you get burned out or you get tired of doing the same thing over and over again? And if
No.
yes, how do you relieve that? Oh, no. You do
No,
not at all.
definitely not. Definitely not. Not with Brian. Not with
Mhm.
Brian at all. Prior to Brian, I did mention that I was training teachers who taught Chinese children. That burned me out, actually. That was the one that burned me out and made me apply at Sphere Rocket.
Mhm.
And when they assigned me, it was something really different from what I was doing. So
Yeah.
when they assigned me to Brian, and maybe I can say he's for me, of course, and I'm sure a lot of VAs would say the same thing for their clients. That Brian is, of course, for me is the most understanding, most lovable, most patient, and he doesn't really pressure me into doing things that he knows I can't do.
Mhm.
So and he challenged me in a way as well. Like, do you think you can do this? Because if you can't, it's fine. He would say that. But of course, for me, it's part of my job, and to be very honest, it's not burning me out at all. I look forward. I look forward to working Mondays to Fridays because Saturdays and Sundays are my offs. And for 4 years, not once did I ever feel burned out. I would request for days off, but days off
Mhm.
because of what do you call this? Because of important events, but never because I was tired or nothing like that. Not
Wow, that's really nice to know. I could really tell that being a virtual assistant, specifically being an admin assistant, is your soulmate job because you never felt tired at all. And wow, that's just really lovely to know. You're really passionate, dedicated to what you do. Most especially, your client is very lucky to have you, and you're very lucky to have the client. And that's very good matchmaking right there and very compatible. So, very, very nice to know about that. And I'm very happy to know that you never do burnout. So, what's your secret? How come you never do feel tired about what you're doing? What's your very deepest secret or like your motivation towards that?
well, probably because of course part of it has something to do with the client. If you have
Hmm.
a very toxic client, definitely you're gonna burn out. All
Hmm.
right. And part of it
True, true.
also, yeah, part of it also would be it's because I did mention earlier that I've worked for the longest time.
Hmm.
I've been working since God knows when, even, probably even before you were born. So, anyway, going back, I've had a lot of work experiences. And as a single parent, oh, I did forget to say that I'm a single mom. So, as a
Uh-huh.
single mom, that I had to bring up my two kids on my own, that actually did burn me out. I mean, everybody gets tired not getting support from the father or not receiving enough pay to make both ends meet. Okay. But when I was given the opportunity by Sphere Rocket last 2020, my kids were, of age.
Hmm.
So now, right now that as we're speaking, it's like I'm an empty nester. So I don't have
Oh,
any
it's that
reason to get
phase or
burned out.
stage of life now.
Yes, I'm in that stage now. So I don't worry about buying their milk, buying their
Hmm.
stuff, you know. They have their own means of earning. So I'm in that stage wherein my concentration is now at work. And now that I'm working, my client is so patient and so just loving and everything. So I don't feel any pressure. I don't feel
Mhm.
any reason to quit. So I guess that's it. That will be the secret to why I don't get burned out.
Awesome. That's really, really great. And the way you've mentioned with being a single mom, I could really tell that you're a super mom right there, a very perfect example of a super mom. You inspire a lot. And I believe I know there are also a lot of people watching our podcast episode right now who are secretly struggling the same thing, and maybe you want to give out an advice to these single moms out there.
Just keep on fighting. I was on the verge of giving up. Believe me, two kids, no support from the father or the family of the other one on the other side. I was really struggling. And I guess what kept me going, other than being a Christian, of course, and hanging on to God's promise of a better future, just keep on fighting. Believe in yourself that you can do it. I did get to a point that I wanted to give up, but when I look at my children now, I can't. I can't give up because I have the responsibility to bring them up, and I will do that. And now I'm in that point where I'm about to reach that because my eldest is almost 30, and my youngest is in the stage where someday soon he will let go. So sometimes I sit down and just smile and say, oh, finally I did it. I never knew I'd reach this point where I would be breathing normally. And that the hard I know there will be hardships in the future, but the hardships that I felt from the time I gave birth to them up until the time that, a few years back, I never knew I would survive. So just keep on hanging.
Thank you so much, Miss Anna. That was very, very inspirational. Thank you so much for touching many hearts right now. I'm actually very, very touched. And I can't imagine to be put in your shoes right now. It's really, really hard. But then you still can put a smile on your face and still inspire and motivate many, many people right now towards your message. So thank you so much for that experience, Miss Anna. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. Awesome. So, going back with being a virtual assistant and of course well versed with Sphere Rocket, I want to ask how did Sphere Rocket help your current role right now, and how did Sphere Rocket impact your life, or what image do you want to instill to the people when it comes to Sphere Rocket, or when we talk about Sphere Rocket?
Okay. I've heard about other companies, headhunting companies, but I'm not
Mhm.
saying what Rocket is, but you did give me to a client, but what I felt with Sphere Rocket is that we're a family. They will not let you go. They will not let you go. The fact is, I have been with Brian for 4 years. They're not getting anything from Brian anymore. They're not getting Sphere Rocket is not getting paid by Brian anymore, if I'm not mistaken. But yet, they still consider me as family. The fact that I'm here talking to you right now, and I don't feel very happy because some companies would just assign a VA to the client, and then you're on your own. But it's not the case with Sphere Rocket. I really found a family in Sphere Rocket. Sphere Rocket supports you.
Mhm.
Justin was very supportive, was and is actually very supportive. So what I learned with Sphere Rocket is that you don't let go of anyone just because you got them into a client and all. Keep that person. And for the other VAs out there, especially if you get to have a very good client, Sphere Rocket is not going to let you go. You're still going to be in their heart, and they're going to be in your heart. That's for sure.
I love that. Thank you so much, Ms. Anna, for that very awesome assurance to those who are also aspiring VAs right now. And yeah, you are a living testifying person, a living proof of, being how assured and guided and well cared of how Sphere Rocket really is to you. And yeah, leading down to the last question before we proceed with the commercial break, it's actually connected to what you mentioned earlier. So if for those who are aspiring VAs or virtual assistants that are watching right now at our podcast, what piece of advice do you want to give out to them?
Take a leap of faith. Just like what I did in 2020 when I was really burned out from the past company I was in. I wanted to resign at the very moment, and I didn't know where to go because I didn't have a backup company then. This was May of 2020. I saw the ads of Sphere Rocket on my news feeds. I saw my best friend actually comment, "How?" And the difference between my best friend and I are, well, she asks how, I take the leap of faith. So I took the leap of faith. I didn't bother to comment like how or info please or stuff like that. I took the tests. I submitted it. I got a call the next day. I had an interview with my client after the day after that. And then I started in just a week or two, probably. No, I started June 12th. And if I didn't take the leap of faith, I would still be in that old company, crying my heart out, burning out again. So
Exactly.
yeah, so that's it's very scary to take a leap of faith, especially if you don't know what's in store for you. But I did, and 4 years after, I'm still here, earning much more than what I was earning way back in that company. So, yeah, take that leap of faith, take that jump.
Perfectly said there. Take a leap of faith. And yeah, I could really tell that you are not a woman of question, but a woman of action. And you did what you had to do in order to achieve those goals that you wanted to achieve. And there you have it, you guys. Thank you so much, Miss Anna, for that very inspirational advice to our aspiring VAs who are watching right now. And with that being said, please do stay tuned. We have a very short commercial break. We'll be right back right after this. Ever dreamed of swapping your hectic office for a comfy home workspace? At Sphere Rocket VA, we make that dream a reality. Say goodbye to rush hours and hello to remote work. Enjoy more time with family, more time for yourself, all while building your career. Interested? Apply now at www.spherejobs.ph. All right, and we are back once again on our podcast episode, and we've got a very awesome and inspiring Mother Eyes, Mommy Eyes, and Mom Anna once again with us. Hi again, Mom Anna.
Hello again.
Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, before we proceed to our last segment of the podcast episode, is there any shout outs you want to give out to the audience? Anything you want to promote, your socials perhaps, or your client perhaps? Yeah.
Wow. I just want to say hi, of course, to my kids. Hello. And of course, to my wonderful clients, Brian and Nicholas McGuire. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you, and I love you both. That's it.
Awesome, awesome. Love that, love that. Thank you so much, Mom Anna. All right, so we're down to our last segment, and this is what we call the lightning round. So this is just like fast talk. I'm gonna throw in some questions. You tell me the first thing that pops into your mind. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Let's do it. First question: day off or bonus pay?
Wow, both? No,
Oh,
day off, probably.
awesome, awesome. What is your favorite social media platform?
Facebook.
Facebook. Voice or non-voice?
Definitely non-voice.
What is your go-to midnight snack?
Oh wow. Double cheeseburger, shake fries cheese, and large Coke Zero.
I love it. I love it. It's so specific. Coffee or tea?
Coke Zero. Sorry, I don't drink
Ew.
coffee.
Okay, okay, all right. Dream country to visit.
Oh, Japan.
And most expensive purchase.
My son's car.
And lastly, one word to describe Sphere Rocket.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. It's so awesome to have you as well, Miss Anna. Thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate, of course, having you be with us at our guest at our podcast today. Once again, this has been Julia officially signing off and wishing everybody to enjoy the rest of their day. See you again in our next episode of Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye, Amanda. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Julia. Bye, everyone.
Do you want to apply as a Sphere Rocket virtual assistant? Well, look no further because this video is for you. I will be telling you which requirements you will need to submit in order to apply to our new website, plus a few tips and tricks to help you with your initial interview. We have achieved a better way for you to send in your application, so let's begin. Step 1. Visit our website
at www.spherejobs.ph.
Step 2. Fill in the application by inputting your full name, email, number, and other questions that you will need to answer in order to move on to the next step. Step number 3. Send screenshots of your updated CV, Tony Robbins PDF result, internet speed screenshot with a minimum of 10 Mbps, a scanned copy of your government ID, and your portfolio with sample works. Step 4. Click the submit button and wait patiently for our email. Now here are some tips on how to stand out during your initial interview. Tip number 1. Dress up as if you were going to an in-person interview. Wearing something formal will give the interviewer a sign that you are serious about applying to this job role. Tip number 2. Find a quiet space where your interview will be held. There's nothing worse than getting distracted by the noise around you and not being able to understand what the interviewer is saying. Tip number 3. Be yourself and show up as confidently as you can. Know what you bring to the table and honor your worth. Interested in becoming a part of our team? Submit your application now
at www.spherejobs.ph.
Good luck!